My next guest coming back on the James Show, Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. She's an immigration attorney. And Kate, I thought about you when I saw about the program, about the $1,000 stipend to try and entice illegal immigrants to self-deport. While I think his intent's well, and this may work in some limited cases, I'm not sure how effective this will be. Your thoughts, Kate?
I agree. I don't think it's going to be impactful. I mean, $1,000 is not much, number one, and I don't think that many people will take advantage of it. There's a bunch of considerations. Of course, some of the announcements about it are claiming that people who self-deport will be able to come back legally, but that's not true under the laws. I also think that people who might be willing to do this, let's say someone who's undocumented, who's willing to register and receive a travel stipend and leave the country, that's someone who follows rules and follows process, and it's sort of a double whammy against us to pay that person to leave when that's someone who, is of working age, could be here supporting our economy. So not only are we losing a good worker, we're also paying them money to leave. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
and it doesn't, yeah.
I find the logical fallacy here in the fact that, well, you're going to give them $1,000, yes, but they're going to have to move to a third world country where that $1,000 isn't going to last forever. They're giving up many thousands of dollars by leaving America. Right. And then you run into the other problem. Well, then what do? Do you make the incentive bigger? What if you gave them $10,000 to self-deport? And then I think we would run into the problem of people sneaking in just so they can deport themselves for $10,000.
Yeah, although presumably there's going to be some deadline. I mean, I think the bigger question is, what are we trying to achieve here? Because we do know that we have aging baby boomers. We have a need for workers in agriculture and construction and home care and all of that. Why would we pay people to leave instead of saying, what if we flip this on its head? What if we said, instead of that, we're actually going to charge people $5,000 to register and to get a work permit and not have to leave? Then we get to keep the workers. People come out of the shadows, and we earn money as a government instead of spending money. That's why I think stepping back and saying, what do we actually want here makes a whole lot more sense than just throwing out $1,000 so working age people leave this country when that's not what we need.
Yeah, well, I think spitballing here is that's not fair to the people who are trying to come in here legally and they're on a waiting list. It's like, oh, okay, so they get to come in and jump the line and there's no repercussions for it. Why would I follow the law anymore if you're going to make it that easy?
The immigration system is really complicated, and the reality is that most of the people who are here are in some kind of line. It's 25 years to get a green card through your brother. It's absurd. And so there are some people waiting in that line outside of the country, but a lot of the people who are in this country are in some sort of process. Really, what would be so much better for all of us is if we could say, okay, we actually need immigration. Immigration is not a bad word. Sure, if people actually are dangerous, violent criminals, maybe that's not somebody that we would offer legal status. So I understand.
Or definitely, yeah.
But if somebody's here, they don't have a criminal history, they are contributing to the economy, why would we want that person to leave? Why would we pay that person to leave as opposed to have them pay us to stay?
Because they broke the law, and there's other people that could take their place that didn't break the law?
They didn't necessarily break the law. A lot of these folks entered on a visa. They might have overstayed the visa.
Which is illegal.
Yeah, it's a civil infraction. It's not a crime.
Yeah, it's like jaywalking, but they still broke the law. Look, you're making some good economic points on the fact that more immigration here, if it's the right kind of immigrants, can be beneficial to the economy. But I think a lot of us just want it to be legal. And if you're going to make that argument, I think it'd be better to say, instead of letting in 1 million people a year, maybe we should let in 2 million legal immigrants a year, but still not tolerate the illegals. What's wrong with that, Kate?
The truth is that most of the people who are being targeted and apprehended right now for arrest, detention, deportation actually entered legally. So they came in through, the parole programs or other types of programs, or they use CBP-1. So the truth is we're not actually honoring and respecting the people who did it legally or the right way. If we're going to do that, then let's stop rounding up and detaining people who were trying to follow the rules. And I know this, I represent these people. I know these people up close and personal, people who did everything the right way. They're doing everything they know how to do this the right way, and they're still getting wrapped up in all of the enforcement that's going on. So when I hear people say, oh, I'm all for legal immigration, I respond, are you sure about that? Because what I'm seeing is people who do follow the legal policies are not being treated as if they did.